We have time for one more question. Why don't you come up?
Actually, I don't think I need this.
We're recording, though. We're recording, so I would love for you to use it. But you are a great projector.
Okay, I'm going to use this. I guess my question is, since the foundation of getting us all together is confidence, how or what are some tips you can give us for confidence as teens and as African American teens, women rather, when we're taught so often as youngins that it's just the way it is? When, we're always taught, you don't shave your underarms, why? It's just the way it is. How can we solve a problem of confidence when we don't know that it is a problem?
It's a great question. And so I will, why don't we talk about confidence, which was your idea, and then I'll have everybody give a final word on that before we wrap up our panel.
That's a wonderful question. And I think a couple of things. To return to what we were just talking about, relationships with each other is, for girls, an incredible source of confidence. So to find the people near you who make you feel valued for who you are and who give you the support to take risks and to try new things, which is the stuff of confidence, being able to put yourself out there. When girls help each other, there really is nothing that they can't do. That is a very, very true thing, and I've seen it for many, many years. But it does get to this question, girls sometimes don't support each other. And one thing we haven't quite gotten at, and this speaks to the intergenerational question as well, is that when a population is made to feel less than, when a population is not given access to resources, they do tend to see each other as threats. And when a population has very little compassion for themselves, they have trouble having compassion for each other. And someone once famously said I guess it was of the women's movement in the 1970s, we eat our own. Maybe it was Shalamith Firestone, that we eat our own. And her point was that we have to talk about why we're doing that. And so you must stay close to other girls and not forsake them, even when you are told by the culture that girls are so mean and horrible to each other. Secondly, Charlotte Jacobs, who is getting her doctorate at the University of Pennsylvania, Grad School of Education, and who works with us at the Hewitt School, her dissertation is in part on African American girls. And she focuses on African American girls in elite schools, but she's also looked at girls of color in her work. And one of the things that she's found is that what really can create confidence for girls of color in a world where they've been told that, yes, that's the way things are, is critical consciousness. That is really learning about systems of racism and discrimination and coming together and fighting those together, and that creates confidence even in a world where you feel that ceiling. Thank you. Glad you liked the answer.
Any final words?
I would say, on the issue of confidence, which I think is so linked, because I think half the time the reason why women or girls don't support each other or bully each other is because, it's this sort of unhealthy self-esteem, the feeling like in order to have, feel better, you make someone feel worse. But I also think that, our girls are raised so much, in a way to care what other people think. And I think that's part of what's really damaging for girls is this sense of just, again, not valuing our voice, our vision, worrying too much about being liked and pleasing. All of this comes from our culture and from the media. So I think we all have a role, whether it's as a friend, as a parent, as an educator, to try to build girls up so that they have that kind of healthy self-esteem, because it winds up being something that goes on, as they become women. And the other thing I will just say, the role of the media, there's so much fixation on girls in terms of how they look. And I think we have to change that so much, because I know I even suffered that as a teenager. If you're so fixated on your weight and how you look, rather than thinking about, your gifts and who you are. So I think that's, I can't remember who said this, but it's just, if you see a girl, you don't, rather than telling them that they're pretty or that's a nice outfit, compliment them on something that they said. So find ways to really give them other healthy forms of confidence that are about who they truly are.
I think that's a great way to end our panel. Can I get a round of applause for our panelists? Thank you. Ladies, appreciate it.
Let me just say really quickly, I've done some research on this too, in addition to the critical consciousness. I would also suggest understanding your history is a huge bolster to confidence. We know that in the public education system, you will not get a broad understanding of African and African American culture, specifically as it relates to the contributions of Black women. And when you know the greatness from whence you come, you have no other chance but to be confident in who you are.
Wow, what a great panel on action and advocacy, right? Thank you so much.